Most men are becoming weak, constantly losing the very substance that gave them life. You, as a retainer, are becoming strong. It has been known for centuries that to take down a country, you must first weaken the men through the channels of sexual indulgence. You may think masturbation is free or without cost. This is a common deception because the costs are not upfront. All sensual pleasure incurs a debt that will need to be paid back through the currency of pain and suffering. The costs of sexual pleasure far outweigh the pleasure itself. If one had to pay the costs for sensual pleasure before experiencing it, they would be completely deterred from it altogether. It is much like borrowing money from a loan shark with no means to pay it back. Only misfortune will come out of it. This is not a path you should choose to take. Despite all the ills and ailments that accompany an aging body depleted of life force, there is another type of suffering that comes from this habit, and that is growing old before your time. The reason babies and kids always attract attention and fondness from adults is because they are still full of vital force. They have not depleted much of it, because their delivery into this world was of a recent date. As most people advance into adulthood and beyond, this vitality fast depletes. Though some hold on to it long into adulthood, many in the modern world lose it prematurely. They lose it through gluttony, a sedentary lifestyle, through poor sleep habits, through overstimulation of the senses, through negative thought, through unhygienic living, but above all, most people lose this valuable energy through the habit of sex and masturbation. The spark of life is most strongly seen in the eyes. The glitter of the eyes carry the force of life inside them. When a person carefully conserves their vitality throughout their life without much dissipation, the spark in their eyes is still strong. The glow in their face, the thick and healthy hair. There is an aura around such people, and it is rare to come across those advanced in age who have successfully held onto their life force. It is precisely this energy of life within the body that the practice of sex takes out. Once ejaculation occurs, a portion of that energy is lost forever. It cannot be recouped. Even regeneration is not the same as having never spent it in the first place. The face of a man who has spent his sexual energy is visually apparent. Zombie-like eyes, vampire-like complexion, a guilty expression. The depleted life force is often most palpable to those around him. What a waste it is to cast out the very life force that allows you to exist, all for the sake of some novelty, temporary pleasure. No man of riches willingly throws away his riches. No man of value throws away his value. How can you justify such a loss? Of course, it cannot be justified. This is what you need to remember when you feel the sexual urge overtaking your sense of logic and reason. You will not sell your soul for pleasure. Your life force is just too valuable, too important to be dispersed with. Sexual thoughts are entities outside of the body that are trying to latch onto you and drain your essence. Since the very commencement of this habit, the feeling after masturbation is always of a negative and exhausted state. We feel deeply in our conscience that we have strayed from innocence, from our childhood selves. It takes away our zest for living, our love for life. It puts a heavy burden of shame on our shoulders that we must carry. It stirs deep remorse within our hearts, and it simply feels wrong, like a violation of nature, because that is exactly what we have done. We never realize the complete joy of purity until it has left us, and masturbation for many gives the first warning that we are straying from purity, from God. It casts a dark shadow over our lives and brings us into darkness. When the habit continues, It will inevitably erode a man's physical, mental, moral, and spiritual faculties. When the morals are gone, his good character is destroyed. He is passed over to the dark side, so to speak, as he becomes apathetic to everything that stands in the way of gratifying his sexual nature. He becomes deeply selfish and capable of much sin, all for the sake of fulfilling his carnal desires. The selfish nature develops from this habit, and the man brings much suffering onto others through his actions. As a result, the man also invites much pain and suffering into his own life. He has chosen the path of destruction and is now walking it. His new god is the orgasm, and he sacrifices all else for its pursuit. He desecrates his own self, his own kingdom in which God resides, for the sake of sensual pleasure. His faculties for appreciating all the higher pleasures of life are incinerated by his fiery lust. He can no longer appreciate goodness in others. He feels no joy in living. He harbors no spirit. Creative and artistic insight abandon him. He is descending into the fires of hell. Music, art, love, it all becomes meaningless, superseded by the overwhelming urge to ejaculate. In contrast, when one follows the chaste way of life, all the higher faculties of the mind and body become greatly enriched. One becomes sharper in intellect. The strength of his brain's synaptic connections are greatly enhanced, along with his ability to investigate deeper mental concepts. There is simply more energy available in the brain, so more bits of information become accessible to him. His awareness and reflexes improve. It's like the difference between watching a show on an old black and white TV and viewing it on a modern, state-of-the-art 8K display. The difference in the function of a chaste mind as compared to a sexually depleted mind is drastic. Chastity molds you into a good man. It develops your higher sentiments, and thus the qualities of purity and morality form from within you. You are no longer acting out of self-interest, and instead work for a shared interest. Your efforts become concentrated, and as a result, you become a powerful force for those around you. Chaste souls easily rise up the ranks in life and are often rewarded high positions with great responsibility. They are sought for their powers, as those around him benefit greatly from it. His power becomes known to others in many forms, whether through his attention to his work, his productivity in society, his magnetic persona. All the ways in which energy manifests such qualities emanate from him. The stuff of the sexual life, as Nietzsche says, is the stuff of art. If it is expended in one channel, it is lost for the other. The masters of all the more intensely emotional arts have frequently cultivated a high degree of chastity. This is notably the case as regards music. One thinks of Mozart, of Beethoven, of Schubert, and many lesser men. Beethoven himself once wrote, "Sensual gratification without union of the souls is and remains bestial. Afterwards, no trace of a noble sentiment, but only regret." Remember, this world is not what you think. You are not experiencing the world directly as is. You are experiencing it through the filter of your brain, and a brain that is degenerating will degenerate the entire universe it resides in. Have you ever considered that the misfortune that goes on around you could bear some relation to the misdeeds you commit over your own organism? I believe these two forces are somehow intimately connected. That energies you choose to engage with are very much shaping the reality you are here to experience. It could even be the reason bad situations around you are occurring. The universe you are experiencing is a lot more connected to your very brain than you may think. Your actions in this world matter, and destroying the very filter you experience it through via the act of sexual release could well be destroying the entire universe in which you reside. Gandhi wrote on this connection, "The human body is the universe in miniature. That which cannot be found in the body is not found in the universe. If our knowledge of our own body could be perfect, we would know the universe. Your inner state shapes the universe you live in. To protect one is to protect the other. So even if you feel powerless to change the world around you, by starting with yourself and choosing to live a chaste life, you will eventually influence and transform this reality in which you exist."